My name is LJ Roberts. I'm an artist living in Brooklyn, and my show, Carry You With Me, 10 Years of Portraits, is up at Pioneer Works. The project consists of 26 embroideries. They're all 6 by 4 inches. They're portraits of friends, collaborators, lovers, people in my community, other artists, activists, combination of the two. The fact that they're the size of snapshots makes them much more intimate. So I think that there's roots in that and an analog photography that I grew up with that continues on into these embroideries. Photographs aren't actually a memory. It's like actually the other things that create the memory, you know, the sights, the smells, the person, the energy, and that seems to be what the back is about. I don't do anything to the back, it's just I stitch the figure and then the abstract form comes out on the back. You know, I think sometimes they're more evocative of the actual person than the figure, because the figure is always limited, our bodies are limited. To me, like, they're just like messy like people are, and like the messy is beautiful, the messy is chaotic, the messy can be at times maybe a little aesthetically off. You know, the thing with the turning the embroideries is it feels like a book. That made complete sense when we made the book. When you turn the page from the front of the embroidery, you get to see the back. And it's just like the show, where you get to turn the frame and see the back. My sophomore year of high school, there was these field trips you could go on with the school, and there was a sign-up sheet to go see the AIDS quilt, and it was laid out for the last time on the Washington Mall. I remember getting there, and you know, the scope of how many people who had passed away and that grief was overwhelming, but there was also these kind of new lexicon and language about queer and trans identities, and that was hugely informative. I'll never know or be able to measure the impact of that trip on my practice now, except to say that it was a really formative moment in understanding myself and my identity, and that's all over the work. I'm very much an air sign. I have to kind of have a little bit of a nomadic existence, and textiles work perfectly for that. I sleep on them. You know, there's definitely nights where I'm working late and they're not uncomfortable. You know, people also think that there's some kind of energy that gets embedded in them from me sleeping on them or the dogs sleeping on them. I work on them in all sorts of environments, including the open desert that I shouldn't, or the embroideries are made on the subway, so they collect all this dirt, or outside on a campsite or the beach. You know, the title of the show is Carry You With Me because I'm carrying the portraits, but the embroideries themselves carry all of the like dirt and detritus that they collect in different places that they go. My grandmother taught me how to knit and sew when I was 7, but I didn't pick up sewing or knitting really again until I was taking a sculpture class in undergrad, and I'd injured myself, so I couldn't go use the wood shop, I couldn't use the video editing lab, so I just started knitting the work, and that's when I kind of figured out that I could activate writing using material. There are things in the embroideries where you see words or book titles or a mug or a sign or, you know, someone's t-shirt, and it's very recognizable in terms of the issue and identity, but also to the time and place that that was being talked about. And perhaps it also is a little bit telling about what's happened to that issue as we've moved through time. Needles are always part of thinking about repair. You know, they bring things together. It's like a meditative, therapeutic kind of exercise. There was something about the muscle memory and also the way that I am able to bring someone with me, and also just this kind of tradition of portraiture with all the Alice Neal shows, or like thinking about Peter Hujar or like Zanelli Mahole, who document people over the course of time, and that has a lot to do with also place and social issues, feels very part of the core of what I do. And so now when I don't embroider, it feels like there's some kind of void in my life.